The United States will lose this war, which will forever change the global order.
What if the next major war completely reshapes global power and the United States doesn't come out on top? Now listen to this prediction.
Back in 2024, you made three big predictions. One, that Trump would win. Two, that he would start a war with Iran. And three, that the U.S. would lose that war. Let's take a listen to that.
In this class this semester, I'm making three big predictions, right? First is that Trump will win in November. Second is that the United States will go to war against Iran. And the third big prediction is that the United States will lose this war, which will forever change the global order.
That's not a small prediction. Saying the United States might go to war with Iran is one thing, but predicting that America could actually lose that war is an entirely different level of claim. After all, we're talking about the most powerful military force on the planet. So how could anyone seriously argue that the United States might not come out on top? According to this analysis, the answer comes down to three factors most people aren't paying attention to. First, preparation. Second, the economics of modern warfare. And third, a potential shift in global power that could change the entire geopolitical landscape. Let's start with the first one. And before we break this down, if you enjoy deep dives into major political debates and global events like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because this channel is all about breaking down the biggest stories shaping the world right now. Now listen to this part.
I think that Iran has many more advantages over the United States. The reality is that right now, it's a war of attrition between the United States and Iran. And the Iranians have been preparing 20 years for this conflict. In their eschatology, in their religion, this is a war against the great Satan. They've had many practice runs. Last June was a 12-day war when the Iranians were able to examine and analyze the strike capacities of both the Israelis and the Americans. And they've had a lot of time, 8 months, to prepare fully for this new attack. They, through their proxies, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Shia militias, have been able to really grasp the American mentality. And now they have a pretty good strategy of how to weaken and ultimately destroy the American empire.
That idea introduces the first key argument, long-term preparation. History shows that wars of attrition often come down to endurance rather than raw power. Even powerful nations have struggled in conflicts where their opponents spent decades preparing for a long fight. Think about Vietnam. Think about Afghanistan. Military strength alone doesn't always determine the outcome. Sometimes it's about strategy, preparation, and the ability to adapt over time. But according to this argument, there's another factor that could make modern conflicts even more complicated. And it comes down to something surprisingly simple: money.
The United States military is not designed to fight a 21st century war. Remember, the military-industrial complex came to being after World War II, and it was designed to fight the Cold War. And the Cold War was really about muscle flexing, about who was able to send people up into space, who was the first to get the person on the moon, who had the more complex missile systems. And so the entire American military strategy revolves around very sophisticated technology that costs a lot of money to build. And that's what the American air defense system is basically. And that's why we're seeing this asymmetry, as you point out, in this war, where you have these $1 million missiles trying to take out these $50,000 drones. And it's not sustainable in the long term. And so what we're seeing is really the puncturing of the aura of invincibility and inevitability that sustained American hegemony for the past 20 years, especially after the collapse of the Soviet Union.
This is where the conversation shifts from strategy to economics. Modern warfare is becoming a battle of cost efficiency. If one side can destroy extremely expensive systems using weapons that cost only a fraction of the price, the math starts working against the stronger military power. And that's why analysts have been paying close attention to the rise of things like inexpensive drones, cyber warfare, unconventional tactics, These tools allow smaller powers to challenge larger militaries in ways that simply didn't exist decades ago. But according to this analysis, the biggest implication isn't just about military tactics. It's about something much bigger: the global balance of power.
And this is really a reordering of not just the global economy, because this signals the collapse of the petrodollar, and with it, the entire US dollar-based reserve currency system, but also the global hegemony of the United States. We're moving towards a multipolar world.
And this is where the discussion becomes much larger than a single conflict. The claim here is that events like this could signal a shift in the global order. For decades, the United States has been the dominant power shaping international politics, global markets, and security alliances. But history shows that no global power structure lasts forever. The real question isn't just about one potential conflict. The bigger question is whether we are witnessing the early stages of a new geopolitical era, one where power is shared between multiple global players rather than dominated by a single superpower. Some analysts believe that shift is already happening. Others believe the United States will remain the dominant global force for many years to come. And that brings us to the debate. Do you think the United States could realistically lose a major conflict against a country like Iran? Or is that prediction completely unrealistic? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy discussions like this where we break down major political arguments, global conflicts, and the ideas shaping our world, make sure you subscribe and join this growing community, because the next debate we cover might challenge what everyone thinks they know about global politics. I'll see you in the next video.